Ladies and gamers, welcome as I forget to turn off my own stream, so let's do this again. Ladies and gamers, welcome to BelleNOiRtv. My name is BelleNOiR and you are watching Cast My Game episode 7. I'm just checking that all the all the titles are set up correctly and it doesn't by mistake say that it's episode 6 or 8 or 9 or 12, but we'll get there eventually. Eventually we will have episode 12, or My Name Isn't Batman. Oh, wait. Okay, kind of screwed that one up, because my name is BelleNOiR. But as I take a sip of my coffee, which is of course extremely hot, but very, very delicious. You should try it. It's dangerous. You might burn everything you have inside your mouth, and then you might end up not being able to talk, but it's delicious and dangerous, and I love living on the razor's edge. So let's give a hello to everybody in the chat. Hello there, Lekami, Matsor Magico, and Robert Yagar, which I haven't heard from since forever. How you doing, man? You still doing stuff for SCV Rush or not? Oh, Lekami is Jose Alves. Alright, I remember. Yo recuerdo, I think it is the correct word. My Spanish is weak. My Spanish is really weak. I apologize. Okie dokie. So, let's just tell you what is in store for you guys today. We are going to have a PvP, a ZVZ, a TVP, and a TVT. Yeah, Portuguese, exactly. That's why you're Jose Alves and not Alves. Wait a minute. Nothing is true, everything is permitted. That's a quote from a movie, isn't it? I definitely think it's a quote from a movie. Now, which movie was it? Inception! No? No, it can't be Assassin's Creed 2. Come on. Come on, it can't be Assassin's Creed 2. Gotta be kidding me. Anyways, dust enough my casting arms and casting fingers so that they are nimble and have the required 30 APM to cast a game. And let's jump into the first one here, shall we? It's going to be a PvP between two guys that have very interesting names, but one of those is Balthazar from Clan X. And I think I might need to do some shoutouts. So let me just check that the overlay switched. Yes, it has. Alright, so let me just introduce these players real quick. We do have www and W, the red Protoss spawning in the top right here on Neoplanet S. And his opponent is going to be the blue Protoss spawning diagonally in the bottom left. It is going to be Clan X Balthazar, who is the one submitting this replay. And let me actually check if I'm doing any shoutouts for this guy. No, I don't think so. At least it's not noted anywhere that I can see, so let me just do one more search. Nope. No shoutouts for this guy, other than he's from Clan X. So that's going to be everything I say on this remark. So we do see gas being taken here for our dear Protoss player Balthazar. And, well, gas should have been... Oh, okay, so it's a double gas on 15. Oops, almost did and ended up not getting that one down. So it's a double gas on 15 for the multiple W player here. And only now he goes and says good luck, have fun, because there was a little bit of a banter in this game before those guys ended up going into their respective matches. We have 2 probes on each assimilator here, which is, you know, kind of cool. But chrono boosting his probes up like this also means that his core is going to be severely delayed. So most probably W is going to be teching like crazy. Meanwhile, his probe did scout the entirety of his opponent's base. Is leaving a little bit prematurely, I have to say, because you can actually stick around with your probe and spot the timing on the second gas as long as 4:10 or 4 minutes 20 seconds, which is exactly when the Stalker comes out. So he really wants to be out of that base by 4 minutes 10. But until that time, he can comfortably stick around. The only thing able to do you any damage would be enemies' other probes, because the Zealot will never catch you. So unless you're a really bad player and you're not paying attention to your scouting probes, you're not going to get them killed. I mean, you'd have to try pretty hard to achieve that. So now we have Stalkers out for, or going out for both of these players, and looks like Balthazar will be opening up with a 3 Stalkers, supported by a Zealot who is making his way across the map already. Has scouted for proxy pylons at the possible proxy locations, and W, he's going to be getting either DTs or Blink. Both are a possibility at this stage in game, I have to say. But he should, if he's going DTs, he should have... Well, actually, now that the DT Shrine is a little bit cheaper, it's okay. Usually you want to have 6 on gas when you're going DTs, not 4. Oh, and this is a ballsy move. Balthazar, he's going to be expanding. And of course, whenever you expand this early, you need to put a lot of pressure on your opponent. First, you ensure that there are no proxy pylons on your side of the map, and then you put on tons of pressure, because this will make it so that your opponent will not attack you. And behind this, Balthazar is also getting a robotic facility just in case of DTs. That is perfectly timed to spot any DTs. And now he's moving in, and he's got the unit advantage, a great unit advantage. Time warp going down, but will not stop these units from advancing just a little bit there, not providing the advantage that W needed. Now the question is he going to spot the Twilight Council? He will kill all of the units, forcing probes to be pulled off, and should be target firing those down. But now the warp gate is finished. Those okay, so we only have 1 gateway worth of production here. Balthazar can stay here for quite some time without being in any danger of being killed. 1 Stalker getting warped in, and he continues to kill workers. Let's see, 5 workers, 6 workers killed already. And now he's going to be finally chased away. With a little bit better of a micro, he could actually take down 1 of those Stalkers, but no, it's now 3 versus 3, and he has to get out of there. Not taking the most... not taking the safest route out of the enemy's base. Usually when you're leaving like this, you want to go a little bit this way, and then this way, like this, so that you avoid the enemy Stalkers positioning themselves here and taking pot shots at you as you're just waltzing by them. But, nevertheless, the expansion is finished, the Immortals are coming out, which is, I would really favor an observer, a rather quick observer, and interesting, very interesting thing, and I have to classify this as a mistake on Balthazar's part. He still is only on one gas. I mean, he does have his expansion up. He really should be getting additional gases, and he's not doing that. Now, of course, this allows him to have a ton of gateways, but you know, his opponent does have Blink, and I don't think he scouted that Blink. Oh yes, he did see the Twilight Council. Is he going to be prepared for this, though? He does have 1 Immortal out. He's getting a second one, chrono boosting it like crazy. This probe is going to be spotted by W. So no proxy pylons on enemy side of the map for Balthazar. And he doesn't have a mothership core neither, so no photon overcharge will be able to help in his defense. Meanwhile, proxy balance going down here. And, well, W, he's cutting all probes. He has lost quite a few, but he's cutting the rest of them, and he's trying to go for a finishing blow here. Does he actually know his opponent expanded? No, he does not. But the mothership core has been remade, and this is going to allow him to blink straight up into the base. He sees quite a big army. He sees the probe leaving. I wonder if he caught on to the fact that there is a probe leaving the enemy base. And oh, he has to be careful not to lose that mothership core, though. That's basically his only chance of being aggressive. And there we go, blinking up into the main base. Oh, targeting down the pylon. This will most probably unpower 3 of those gates, so only 2 of those remaining as potential warp-ins. And even those get unpowered for W. Time warp going down on those units, allowing those Stalkers to safely retreat, but unluckily getting the mothership core. And this probe that snuck out earlier from the base, it did get a proxy pylon down, while W is continuing to be aggressive here. And, you know, he's really looking to finish this game just with pure Blink Stalker army. Now, with 3 Immortals, that's going to be a tall order. It's going to be really difficult for W to kill off this army, even with Blink. And he has lost the mothership core, so he has no option to blink to the high ground to you know, outmaneuver his opponent. He is succeeding in pulling him quite a ways away from his base. If he had another pylon right here, he could have used that to his advantage and just warp in a couple of zealots while this army is being dragged away and just send them to the mineral line. Another proxy pylon going down for Balthazar over here. So he's essentially preparing for a counterattack, even getting a warpism in case the frontal assault does not work. He will most probably position the warpism like here, warp in zealots here, if the frontal assault ends up not working. Oh, these immortals, man, they're in grave danger, and they are all going to go down. And this was a huge pickup for W. If he can, basically it's down to gateway armies, and he should win this fight if he micros correctly. Meanwhile, we do have a zealot warping occurring in W's base, and the probes, they are all going down while W is focused on microing this battle, and he's doing a pretty good job of it. He killed he killed all of the army now, and he has an advantage. He should probably win this even without microing, but all of his probes have been killed. This is absolutely insane. 29 probes have gone down this game for Balthazar. And W, well, this is his last chance to win the game. He has to make this count, and quite frankly, without a photon overcharge, with no immortals, because another one has been killed recently, and, well, no resources really to warp in quite as much stuff as he would have liked. W can just kill the entirety of this base, as unlikely as it seems, with only having one probe here, no mining, and his Nexus is going to go down very, very shortly. He still has a standing army, whereas Balthazar does not. He's got 11 units in army supply, and I think the majority of those are the Zealots here on the probe. So, this is absolutely ridiculous. Now he's proceeding to kill off every single worker in the mineral line of his opponent, and yeah, as long as he keeps those Stalkers alive, he's going to be in a golden shape. Now, what's surprising me is why isn't Balthazar warping in units? He does still have some mining here. Some of those gates are still powered, at least. I mean, all of them are powered. So where did those Stalkers end up warping in? It's in the natural, and he's pulling away probes, but nice blink getting the flank onto those Stalkers. Perfect blink micro here. Look at this, saving every single one of those Stalkers. And I think W has this. W has this. He will be able to... He has the mobility, and there's the GG. Well played by Balthazar. As unlikely as this looked for W to win this, he did end up winning the game. Okay, that was game number 1. Let's jump into game number 2, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you very much for watching. Yeah, those immortals, man. Those immortals, they were... Uh, I think even with such a bad decision making and with such a horrible micro displayed by Balthazar, if he still had those 3 immortals, if he didn't misposition those, he should have been able to win that game. Most definitely. Okay, let's go into a TVT now. It is going to be in Whirlwind, and we are going to be watching Isuba Wanty versus We Wanna Win Clan Matsor. TVTs are always always very interesting. So let us see how this one pans out. On Whirlwind, in the bottom left, we do have Isuba. This is Isuba Academy, I think. So Isuba Wanty, the blue Terran, and his opponent is going to be Matsor, the green Terran, here in the top left. Now, I have casted a number of games with Matsor already. He's a pretty competent player. I really admire his... basically the rate at which he learns, his rate of progress. It's really astonishing. And over the past year, he's gained a very good understanding of the game for himself. So that means that he's able to stand toe-to-toe. When he has a good day, he's able to stand toe-to-toe with QXC, for example, one of the games which I have shown before. He lost this. He ended up losing the series 1-2, but still he managed to take a map off QXE, which, you know, for a top master level player versus a pro gamer who's getting paid to play the game, and generally does not need to do anything else during his time. That's a pretty huge success. So, Wanty opening up with a barracks. Matsor still not getting his. That is because he scouted a little bit earlier, but oh, wait, no. Is he going to be going for command center first? This is a balls out play, but at the same time, on Whirlwind, nothing that uncommon, and yes, it is going to be command center first. Now, is he going to... Oh, Matt, you courageous little motherfucker. You're gonna put that command center directly on the low ground, not even trying to put it on the high ground and then make a wall off with the barracks, not afraid of any Hellion openings, nothing of the sort. You're just like, hey, let me just expand straight away. What you gonna do about it, bro? Come at me, bro. Now, considering that Wanty is scouting at the exact wrong way, or in the exactly wrong way, that is going to play into Matsor's cards very well here. And he is going to follow this up with double barracks. This is a very safe play by our green Terran player here. Meanwhile, Wanty, he's getting a gas, and he's not getting a Reaper. So... is he going to be getting a factory? No, he's going to be getting an add-on already. So a reactor, and now he's going to be getting a factory. So he's going to be opening up with a pressure build versus a high eco build. And, you know, if Matsor reads this incorrectly, or if he underprepares in his defenses, he may be in quite a bit of trouble here, because if he doesn't scout this, which he should, then he's going to incur a lot of losses. Oh, is that factory actually... Oh, my goodness. And Matsor not even clicking on the factory. He knows exactly what is up, because almost no one opens up with double Rex reactor into Tech Lab in TVT. So he's going to have a pretty good idea of what's coming his way. Meanwhile, he is taking double gases, and he's double producing mules and SCVs. Now, Wanty, with his opening, has he actually scouted what Matsor is doing? No, he has not. He doesn't... Oh, this is a grave mistake by Wanty. He has scouted all these two locations. He knows where Matsor is not, but he does not know how freakishly fast this expansion was. And this is a very big mistake, because if he noticed that, he could have punished that, most surely. But as it is, he is just content with knowing what's the spawn location of his opponent. and he's going to be sending Hellions that way. And when those Hellions arrive, unless you're very good with maths and counting, the only way you can notice that this command center was before barracks is just by the number of SUVs, which, you know, he will not have access to scouting. Interesting thing here for Matsor, only having 2 workers on each gas so that he can get those barracks up ridiculously fast, and he's still stockpiling minerals. Now the reactor goes down, combat shield gets researched, bunker is being put up, so, you know, these Hellions shouldn't do all that much. They could try to skirt past the bunker into the main, but, you know, Wanty, he does not know if there's a wall off or not. So, yeah, he is going to pull back. He's not going to risk losing 2 Hellions. And Matsor already pulling his infantry back to the main base, getting a factory of his own. Meanwhile, Wanty expanding. His command center just finished, and his first medevac is out, boosted all the way with the first load of Marines ready to blast themselves some SCVs. Engineering base going down as well for Matsor, so he is definitely looking to play a pretty standard build, heavy on the upgrades. Let's see on Wanty's side of things, what's he doing? He's just now adding his racks. He's moving into tank production. No engineering bay for him, so unless Matsor is really forgetful about his upgrades, then he should have the advantage throughout this game. And well, this is a pretty good position for Wanty. He's trying to pressure, and Matsor is giving him the time. He is giving him the time to pretty much unload everything. But, oh my goodness, look at how many SCVs he's pulling. They're all stuck behind the Marines, but Matsor is getting a great concave on his opponent. Beautiful defense we are seeing here right now from Matsor, using the SCVs to buffer, keeping most of his infantry alive, and he defends without any problem. Some of the SCVs have gone down, in fact quite a lot of them, 15, but he still has quite a large army, whereas Wanty's army is really, really minuscule. So this was really well done by Matsor. It evens out the game in Econ, but Matsor still does have the army advantage, and he should have the upgrade advantage as well. Infantry weapons level 1 just now started. Combat shields already finished, and Stimmed is timed exactly the same with his opponent. So like I said, unless he forgets about his upgrades, he should have the advantage throughout this game. His starport and everything related in that regard is a little bit later, and well, the only advantage that Wanty will have in this circumstance actually is the leg up on the tank production. So if he identifies that he is behind in upgrades but ahead in tank count, then he should really start focusing on getting as many tanks as possible. And if that will be the case, then he will have a very good defensive position around his 3 bases here and here and here, and Matsor will have a hard time breaking through that. Conversely, any engagement Matt takes out in the open will be a little bit more difficult for him. Let's just put it that way. So for both of these players, we have Stim nearing completion. Harvesters are neck and neck. Supplies are very even as well, and this time it is going to be Matt who is going to be offensive. But there are 2 tanks in position. Just saying, you always want to cover your mineral lines is in such a way that your siege tanks don't extend over where your own SCVs are. Oh my goodness, and this is the worst possible time to go for a Droom drop, as those 2 medevacs are heading in. Oh my goodness, Wanty has to go back, even boosting, but Matsor already unloaded, and Wanty could lose everything here. He loses both of the tanks. How many Marines is he going to lose? How many SCVs? Well, he defends, but look at the army sizes. Well, okay, so not that bad. Matsor lost 2 medevacs worth of units, but he did bring down 2 tanks of Wanty's, and that was a huge pickup for him. +1 weapons halfway done for Wanty. +1 armor just now started for Matsor. He's got missile turrets at key locations, so except his natural, of course, so he's pretty good versus drops. But Wanty does have his 3rd, and if he manages to get this down, well, that's going to be bad news for Matt. He'll have to punish that. He'll have to take that out, because he hasn't even started his 3rd command center yet. and he really needs to be looking for a third. Yeah, so far he's got zero knowledge of that, and there are 2 siege tanks here in position, so that's virtually impossible moving up that ramp, unless you want to circle around and drop onto the tanks and doing a bulldog maneuver. And Matt still doesn't know. He has to suspect, though, that Wanty is taking a very defensive stance here, so he has to suspect that there is a third there, maybe. Wanty trying to kill I don't know what here. And, well, Matt is assuming an aggressive stance here right now. The siege tank's range not really extending all that much far forward. He's trying to kite the army of Wanty into the siege tank line, but Wanty is stopping just short of the siege tanks, forcing Matt to move them forward a little bit. This, of course, creates opportunity for Matt to start piling up some pressure onto Wanty as he's getting a third base, but it also makes those tanks snipeable a little bit better for Wanty. So if he bum rushes this position, he might be able to take that out. We'll have to see. He is going to be behind in upgrades, though, if he takes that battle. Meanwhile, Matsur is going in with the medevac, and he does see the third command center. Is he going to take that out? No, he's going to drop the main base. And he's also dropping behind the middle of the natural multi-pronged attacks from Matt. And a third drop over here. Now, unfortunately for Matt, this is not as effective, but it makes the army go every which way for Wanty, and this allows Matsur to push into the natural, take out every single tank here, and now he's going to have a prime position. Unlucky that those tanks have been unsieged, but this is going very well for him so far. The drop in the main base is still alive. It looks like it is going to be taken out, but the natural is under siege by Matsur, and this is a really good position for him. Meanwhile, Wanty counterattacking inside Matsur's base. Look at the workers killed tab, 20 versus 15, but rising for Matt and stabilizing for Wanty. So overall, this is just a blow for blow. Army supply favoring Wanty heavily here at this moment in time. Matsur finally defends the drop, but he lost the majority of his army in this quadruple pronged attack. Wanty defending very well, I have to say, or maybe it was just Matt attacking with 2 small groups. Maybe he should have just made a 3-pronged attack instead of quadruple one, and he would have been better off, but that's always a hard call to make. Wanty, of course, knowing that the medevac was active here, he had to relocate his third base to the 4th location, which cost him valuable mining time and mulage, as he now has to relocate back here to his third. And Matsur, well, he's not a guy that's about to let that happen. Meanwhile, Wanty is pushing in, and I think this is a scan by Matt. Yeah, he is scanning. He's seeing that he saw absolutely nothing, to be quite honest. He does have his units in position at the third base, so he will be able to defend versus this. Wanty needs to siege up, though, but doesn't even matter. There's just too small of an army for Matsur to defend this location, and he has to lift off and pull back his command center. Meanwhile, dropping again into the main base, but with this tank sieging up, this is going to be defended. Matsur needs to get the hell out of there, but he's a little bit preoccupied with this command center. He has to save that and not let it go down. Oh, so he finally gets away with that medevac, but not before all of his marines died. Let's look at the upgrade front. It's absolutely same. This game is so even that it's almost unbelievable. You very rarely see games that are as even as this one is. Wanty is going to drop the main base of Matt yet again while pulling back the rest of his army. Matt, he's still trying to get up his third base. And Wanty, well, he's just going to boost past those missile turrets, most probably. No! All of the medevacs go down, but quite a lot of siege tanks have unloaded. But Matt will be able to pull back his forces. He does not have that many marines, though, and it's going to take them a long time to get back. But when they do, these tanks don't have any marine support, or very little of it, just 3 marines with this army. This is going to be taken down very, very easily for Matt. He has to split correctly, though. 1, 2, 3 tanks go down, and, well, continuing forward. Wanty is getting his +3 attack upgrades and +2 armor. Meanwhile, Matt is getting his +3 attack as well. Does he have a second engineering bay? Yes, he does. He needs to queue up this attack pronto. But finally, the game looks like it is stabilizing a little bit, as both players are comfortably sitting on 3 bases and just fighting for map control at this point, really. I like the positioning of this Marine here by Wanty. This will, of course, warn him against any future drops that might be coming his way. And, well, I suspect that both players will be hanging back a little bit here, trying to build up their army and take a 4th base. Even a sensor tower makes an appearance in this play that we are witnessing right here. And both players adding more infrastructure and getting more upgrades. So nothing will be happening for the foreseeable future, at least. Like I said, both players trying to get a 4th base up, similarly timed as well. But Wanty, he looks like he wants to be aggressive, and Matt Sword, I don't think he saw that with that Marine, but yeah, I don't think he saw that. I think the vision of the watchtower was denied, and then the Marine got killed. So unless Matsur was paying a lot of attention to that one Marine and saw it's being fired upon by a lot more units than there should have been. Oh, there goes the scan. Now he knows where the army is, so he is going to reposition his army correctly to accept the blow. Of course, Wanty does not know about the space, but again, he has to suspect his game sense is activating, so he is moving towards that position, overshooting his mark a little bit, moving too far. And Matt, well, he's not really sure where his opponent's army is. He is trying to attack here with 1 tank and a couple of Marines. Not going to do all that much because there are substantial defenses waiting to receive that blow. And Wanty, well, he's trying to find an angle at which he could move into the 4th base of Matt Soar, but deciding against it, thinking that, well, this may cost me more than it's going to be worth it. So he's pulling back, at least for the time being. Another scan going down. This has to be Matt Soar scanning. Yes, it is. He's looking for Wanty's army. Constant scanning going on by both of these players. And, well, now he knows, Wanty knows that there are no units here, so he's going to stim in, move in, try to take out the space. His units are very clumped up, though. Matsur tries to split his Marines as fast as possible as he's going in. He's got a decent concave, and he does have the upgrade advantage, and he does indeed end up pushing this back. So Wanty losing quite a sizable chunk of his army there. The army tab showing 30 foot in favor of Matsur, and it's rising rapidly because I think he does have more barracks. He's on 8 barracks and his opponent is only on 5, so that is making the difference in production here. And we can also see in the resource tab that Matsur's minerals are staying really, really low, whereas Wanty is having trouble spending all his income. If we look at the economy side of things, well, we are quite even, but Matsur either does have more orbital commands, or just now has dropped mules, or just has better saturation, better SCV spread across all of his bases because his income is a little bit higher. And look at the speed with which Matt is maxing out here right now. As he's moving in onto Wanty. Wanty's army, unfortunately, totally out of position. Matsur comes in from the back, sieges up his tanks. Only 1 tank sieged up for Wanty, and Matsur should have no problem dealing with this, even spreading his Marines out to mitigate the damage done by those crucial shock cannons. And this 3rd is going to go down ever so fast. Wanty forced to retreat all of his SCVs, but as long as these tanks are here, he's not going to be able to move through here. Maybe he is thinking of backstabbing the opponent and making an attack from behind, but Matt very aware of this possibility, so he's moving back his Marines to protect his siege tanks, because when those tanks die, the army dies, and frankly, he cannot allow that. Meantime, he finds out that there's a 4th base. Will he move to intercept that one and take that one out as well? He knows Wanty's army is greatly out of position, so it would be good for him to do so. And, you know, Wanty, he has no means of defending this. Matt just has to get into a comfortable enough position with the siege tanks to be in range of this planetary, and he will take that out. The only thing he has to be really careful about is the opponent's army attacking him from behind, and Well, he's trying to get rid of the rocks as fast as possible, but not fast in time. The Marines all moving through a choke, but opponent's siege tanks not being sieged up. Matt having the upgrade advantage on the Mac, being 2-0 versus 1-0, and he takes that army out, and that is going to be it for 1T, conceding the game to Matt. So very good decision making in the engagements here by Matt. Moving on into game number 3. And my tongue is really not being obedient today. Okay, next game is going to be as easy. It's going to be a Grandmaster level player versus a Master. We are casting Rear now. Rear is a member of clan that has this website, so check it out if you can, if you be of the mind, because he's the one submitting the replay to us for your pleasure and mine to cast. And without further ado, let's introduce the guy. In the bottom left on Whirlwind, we do have the blue Zerg player Rear, and spawning horizontally across him is going to be the red Zerg Charles. This is the Grandmaster level player. And apparently these two guys know each other, so this match might be very interesting. They might go for some mind games, but well, so far it doesn't look like a 10 pool coming out of neither of them. And you know, in ZVZ, it's always sort of like a toss-up, especially on very large maps, because you don't want to drone scout. Unless you really have to, and frankly on Whirlwind you should drone scout. So you know, stuff like 8 pools and 10 pools are really freaking powerful on this map, especially if your opponent goes opens up with a hatch into a gas into a pool, and you opened up with an 8 pool or a 10 pool. You're almost guaranteed a win unless you screw up really badly. So as I said, neither of these guys are going to be drone scouting. And here we go. Trolls opening up with a hatchery first, while Rear is going with the safer opening, getting a 15 pool. And then he will most probably follow that up with a hatch, and we already have a drone moving out, ready to plant that down. Look at the timing. The minerals are exactly 300 when the drone gets there. Bam! There goes the hatch. Really nicely trained build. You can see that Rear has had a lot of practice in his StarCraft 2 career, playing this build order, of course. Oh, I didn't switch scenes? I have now, so you should see this. Alright, so a pool and a gas follow up by Trolls. Rear still not getting any gas, which leads me to believe that he will be opening up with 4 queens, or getting 2 gases at once. Okay, so now finally he ends up getting a gas, but it's a little bit too late, or a little bit later than normal, you know. And first 2 lings are being produced by Charles. And do they know each other's position? Well, of course, Rear does know where his opponent is, and Charles should know because he did see this overlord and the direction it came from. First 2 lings are out for Rear as well, so he's going to go ahead and scout his opponent. He does know he opened up with a fairly fast hatch. So he knows he does have the opportunity to go relatively fast Baneling Nest and punish that, or go a very fast lair and punish that with earlier Mutaplay. And we can already see that he's getting a Baneling Nest and his opponent is getting speed for his Zerglings. So most likely Rear going to be the... Well, I mean, you can... Without speed, you usually want to be the defensive player with this. So if Rear is going to be aggressive, I don't know. I would think he's not going to be. He has scouted his opponent's base though. Let me see if he saw those structures. Yes, he did. So he has to suspect this is going to be a bending nest. He's getting a spine crawler at his natural just to be able to stay alive a little bit better. And he does have his bending nest finished, only just now queuing up speed, so he's going to be morphing 1 or 2 defensive bendings here on the ramp, or maybe 1 on the ramp and a second one like right here next to the spine crawler. 2 bendings is usually all it takes for you to stay safe. I'm carefully watching the production tab. I wonder which one of these 2 players is going to start mass producing lings first, as the supplies are favoring rear quite a lot. He's been droning very, very heavily. Oh, what the? Really? That was awkward. That was really, really awkward. So speed is finished for Charles, and you know, he could produce quite a lot of speedlings, and there we go, getting 6. And his opponent is getting six Zerglings as well, almost exactly timed, which is really interesting. So, you know, but Charles, he definitely could produce a lot of lings and go for the attack. But no, Rear is going to be the aggressor here. He's getting a lair behind this. He's producing very many Zerglings, and he's going to go straight for the opponent's base. Both of these players do have speed finished already, so it is going to go down to micro and baneling explosions. And as I was talking about the 2 defensive banelings before, we do have 2 banelings morphed in for Charles. He's going to be using them as a defense. Rear running in with the lings, scouting out the situation. He does see the position of the spine crawlers. Maybe he even saw where those banelings are positioned. He does have an awful lot of banelings of his own in production. 17 banelings. He's going for a big hit here. If this doesn't work, he will be behind, because lair or no lair, look at the gas from Rear. He dumped everything into those banelings. If this doesn't work, then he will not be able to produce Mutalisks at all. We have a 3rd base for Charles while all of this is going on. 2 banelings going in, getting 4 banelings in the hit. Very good trade for Charles, but he does not have enough banelings to defend versus this. And 4 of them are still alive. Even more, 6 of them, 7 maybe, 6 of them are alive, and they are making their way into the main base. The queen is going to fall. And those banelings do make it into the mineral line. Huge explosions going down. 27 workers killed. More explosions, killing the rest of the Zerglings and drones. 31 drones killed. Oh my goodness! If I were Charles right now, I would be like, yeah, God damn it, not again, and I would do a QXC Hulk smash of the keyboard and just instantly rage quit, because this was just what the hell? This was just terrible. He's down to 16 drones. His lair just now finished. His opponent's spire is on the way. His 3rd is on the way. I mean, he does have the production advantage just because of having that 1 more hatchery compared to his opponent, but that is not going to last long. As soon as this spire finishes, it is going to be game over. Charles trying to do what he can with what he's got, but I don't think he's going to be able to accomplish too much here. He's going to check for the 3rd base, not even succeeding in that, as more lings are running past his defenses into his main base, and he just does not have the forces to deal with this. So another queen is going to go down. Of course, that is going to cut into his larva production, which means fewer drones, slower, basically. He wanted to reproduce or remake those drones as fast as he could, being on those 3 bases, and hopefully catch up with his opponent and get back into this game. But this is not going to work. Without larva, you can't do this, and his opponent is so far ahead. He's doubling Charles in supply. He's 53 versus 23 on Harvesters and 29 versus 17 on Army, and he's got Mutalisks already produced and out. And they're going to start attacking the natural base, and as soon as Charles sees this, he knows that he can't defend this. Maybe he's counting on Mutalisks of his own. The Spire does finish. He does have quite a lot of gas, and he is dumping that into Mutalisks of his own. But Charles, he is targeting his enemy's Spire straight up because there is no defense here. Wonder why he's moving away from that and going into the main base. I think sniping the Spire would have been a better decision. I mean, he knows how much damage he's done earlier on, and meanwhile Charles is trying a counterattack, but he's hopelessly outnumbered by the claws and jaws of his enemies defending Zerglings, so he will have to pull back. The Mutalisk count is surprisingly very even, but there are 9 more Mutalisks on the way for rear. And once those Mutalisks rendezvous with these, I think the chances and high hopes of Charles of equalizing this game will be absolutely over. Like, if it isn't clear by now that rear's got this, then it definitely should be clear after those Mutalisk group up and start hitting. And they are going to start hitting hard. Look at how fast this goes down. Meanwhile, a third base is under assault as well. And, well, that is going to get defended, but the natural... Oh my, the natural gets defended as well, but Charles is hopelessly outnumbered in the air, and he has to concede the game to rear. Very nicely played, and I have to say that I think rear does owe the victory more to his opponent not scouting his Zergling production and under-defending hugely. That was a huge mistake, and I'm surprised Grandmaster level players do make such mistakes, but hey, then again, maybe it was his off day and he was really tired, and maybe he was even drunk. Cut him some slack. Rear played very well, regardless of everything. So guys, do check out the website, which is hybree.net. That's hybree.net, to check the clan that Rear is from. And let us go into the final game. Before we do so, let me just remind you guys that Followers Tournament number 8 is happening next week on Saturday. That's May 18th. Announcement will be going out this Sunday in the evening. Sign-ups will open the following day, which is Monday the 13th. And that's all I wanted to say. So if you want to play, remember it's a $100 tournament for the followers of the stream. For 16 players, best of 3 single elimination bracket, best of 5 finals, best of 3 third place match, and the prize distribution is 32 to the winner, 16 to second place, 8 to third place, and $4 a piece to everybody else who makes it into the main bracket. So if you want to play, you're free to sign up. Just don't miss the announcement, because the sooner you sign up, the higher your chances of making it into the bracket. If you don't want to miss the announcement, follow me on my Twitter or like me on my Facebook, and that way you'll be sure not to miss anything. And now, the final game that has been promised to you by me. It is going to be a TVP on Aquilon Wastes. As I sip yet another gulp of my delicious coffee. Not as hot anymore. So, spawning in the top left, we do have IMP's Murmur. I think he's called Murmur. Do you hear that, guys? It's the Murmur. And he's wearing blue colors, playing the turn pieces. His opponent is going to be IMP Zen, so most probably this is just team practice, seeing that both of these guys are from the same team. Now, of course, this map is hilariously good for drop play. So let us see if Murmur will end up employing that tactic versus his teammate here, the Protoss Zen. I wonder if he's a Buddhist, because, you know, Zen Buddhism, wink wink. So the current state of game in this matchup is pretty much very similar to what it was in Wings of Liberty regarding late game compositions. Early game there is more potential for harassment on the turret side of things, with stuff such as Hellbats, speed medevacs, Widow Mines, Reapers, and all kinds of other shenanigans. Even Proxy 888 is being used versus Protoss sometimes. Sometimes. I repeat, sometimes, not too often. Because Stalkers are better than Zerglings versus Reapers, so that's why. And on the Protoss side of things, you know, the addition of the Mothership Core allows the Protoss to be way more greedy than they ever could have been in Wings of Liberty. Nice harassment there. A little piece of hull damage taken on that SCV without taking a damage on the probe. We do have a core going down, and well, the probe, all she wants to do is scout the gases. That's all she wants to do, but unfortunately she won't be able to make it out of the base alive, I don't think. Nope, down goes the probe. Unfortunate set of circumstances for Zen. Is he going to be getting a Zealot, because he is selecting that gateway, but looks like he is not going to end up getting that. And here is a thing I'm really interested in, and that's the gas distribution for him. He's at 100 gas. Okay. He ends up getting a warp gate and a mothership core. Nice choice here. Very nice choice here. And this is the thing that allows you to be greedy. You don't need a stalker early on. In fact, the mothership core, if you chrono boost it out like this, it is going to be out just in time to defend versus Reapers, unless the Reapers were proxied. So, yeah, pretty good. And you see that he's still not getting a Zealot. Just at Mothership Core, that's the only army unit he's got, and he's getting an expansion straight up. So, you know, he can skip a lot of units right now. If he allows the Mothership Core to gather up enough energy, it should have more than enough for an Axis Cannon when this expansion ends up finishing. He's getting a one Stalker just to have an extra bit of defense. But other than that, you don't really need any additional units. You can go and tech straight up, which, just judging by Zen already taking his second assimilator, he is exactly going to be doing. Meanwhile, Murmur, let's see what he's been up to. No scans being used, which really he should have. Because if you're going to be hit by a fast expansion followed by an Oracle, you better have that engineering bay up. Or maybe even DTs are possible off of this. So I would definitely scan at 7-minute mark. We will have to wait if Murmur ends up choosing to do that. And well, so far things look pretty standard for Murmur there. He's just added on 2 additional racks. He's moving into infantry production. He's getting his factory right now, and he's going to be getting his starport. Probably, yeah, there it is. Probably ends up getting an engineering bay. And aside from that, just macroing up, keep producing Marines, keep producing SCVs, and don't get supply blocked, man, and you're going to be just fine. On the Protoss side of the map, basically the same thing happening, with the gateways just now completing, and an observer being built. I really like this positioning of the Stalker, though, because this Stalker will warn you against any push that is going to be going out of the turn base, as long as the push is ground-based. And that's a very good forward warning to have, because you actually don't have to necessarily warp in units if you don't want to. If you want to be playing really greedy and tech up really fast, then you don't want to be warping additional units. You want to conserve your resources. But what you want to do is play this kind of like a Zerg style. When you do see an attack incoming, you want to cut probes and you want to start mass producing units and dumping all of your chrono boost into gateways. Third base going down for Murmur, so he's going to be aiming for a longer macro game. And as the observer is entering the turn base very wisely, Zen ends up pulling back his Stalker, because that that is his only mobile anti-air unit. Meanwhile, we do see Zen getting double forge and a Colossus. So will he end up going double forge Colossi? That's a decently old build, but it still works, and it's really powerful. Basically, versus a Terran, I have the feeling that versus a Terran, you are really at a disadvantage unless you get an economical advantage or you get an upgrade advantage. Especially in the later stages of the game. So I think he's aiming to do just that, but oh my god, did he forget thermal lances? Are you kidding me? You're going Colossi, you're not getting thermal lance. Decently fast Twilight console. A little bit sooner than what you than just for the upgrades, because if you want the Twilight just to continue your upgrades, you put it down at approximately the time when both of these upgrades are at 50% down, but this was put down way sooner. Is this just a one Colossus trick build? It could be it. He does have one Colossus, a pretty defensible position here, as Murmur is going to attack. Is he going to get that Colossus though? He's trying to bait it forward, but not working out for him quite well. Nice set of force fields going down by Zen, keeping him alive for the time being, and Nexus Cannon being activated as well. So that planetary Nexus is going to keep him alive for a decent amount of time. But Murmur, he's moving in yet again. And does actually Zen have units somewhere in the main base? Yes, he does. So he's kind of afraid of a backstab attack here. Oh, is he actually going to get the forge? Yes, he does. Is he going to get the second one? That would have been a huge pickup for him, but he has to be careful not to lose this army. He's getting surrounded by the cells, but he does get the Colossus. But at what cost? I mean, I don't know. Before I take a look at the resources lost tab, I'm going to say that this was absolutely worth it, losing those 2 medevac worth of units, because he did save those medevacs in the end. He just lost the infantry. It was absolutely worth it, killing that one forge and sniping that one Colossus. I think Murmur is going to be in a very good position here, so let's take a look at the resources lost. You can see it's kind of even, but that doesn't tell the whole story. Now the question is, does Murmur read the game of his opponent correctly? Because by the time he killed that first Colossi, a second one should have been already on the field, if this was a Colossus build. And he hasn't scanned. He did see the Twilight Council, but he did not end up seeing those Templar archives. So he should not be getting Vikings, but he is getting Vikings. So far, Zen is covering his build order really well, and he has tricked his opponent into going Vikings instead of going Ghosts while he's getting Storms. How many Templars do we have out on the field? 5 Templars so far, and they will have energy in a couple of seconds for Stormage. Meanwhile, a double drop heading towards Zen's base, and there are no Stalkers here this time. Cannons are being queued up to be put down. No Stalkers here neither, but 2 Zealots and a Templar being warped in. That could actually kill this one medevac full of energy. And, well, one medevac going down. Will he be able to get the second one? He loads up and speeds away, leaving 3 Marines behind, which he sacrifices for the good of the Dominion. And, well, he is a little bit ahead on Econ. His third was up a little bit faster compared to his Protoss opponent. He is rolling double upgrades out as well. Let us see. Alright, so, you know, 1-1, 2-2 on the way. His Protoss opponent is on 2 armor, and he's getting armor level 3, but he's lacking attacks. That's not that big of a deal, though, because as long as he can get money storms off, he should be in a decent shape. And Murmur finally realizing that his opponent is not going to be continuing Colossi production, so he stopped getting Vikings. He's transitioning into Ghosts, getting a robotic, what the hell, getting a Ghost Academy, and pushing forward, realizing that his opponent probably does not have that much of AoE damage available to himself. His army is pretty spread out, though, and well, he needs to be defending multiple points in time. He does have quite a lot of zealots with this, but we do have an addition of Hellbats in this army for Murmur, and the storms will have to be pretty good there. There goes one good storm, second good storm right here, directly on top of the infantry. Okay, those two storms were a complete miss, but the majority of the army has been killed, and Murmur has to pull back. He doesn't mind though, because he does have map control. He is establishing his fourth base as it is. And he knows the Protoss is on 3 bases. But we do have proxy balance on this side of the map by Zen, and he has warped in a couple of zealots. Unfortunately for them, they are going to run into a meat grinder, and they will end up getting killed. And, well, Zen playing really well here. He is resuming Colossi production, transitioning back. He's getting thermal lens this time as well, because he does have enough Templars with Storm. Remember, no High Templars were killed yet. What he would need, though, is double robo production off of this and a fourth base. Because he needs to transition really quickly. And with one robo only, this is not what you would ideally call a quick transition. So instead of getting a third base, he's getting more gateways, bringing himself up to the count 11. And that's really a very high count of gateways. Using DTs as well to try to harass, but there are missile turrets everywhere. Well, maybe not in the natural, but definitely at the third. So even SCVs were able to best that DT in a direct fight. Another one in the main base getting a decent number of kills. I think it was 6 or 8 if I saw correctly, but Murmur so far defending very, very well. I love the addition of these two sensor towers here, alerting him to any enemy presence out on the map and scanning constantly whenever he sees units anywhere in that field. He goes in and eliminates them, and this also tips him off to the possible location of a proxy pylon right here. A lot of barracks as well. So, you know, both of these players macroing reasonably well. Let's look at the army composition. We have a couple of Archons, a lot of Zealots, we have 2 Colossi, which is entirely not enough, and the High Templars are on the other side of this crevasse here, so they will not be able to engage the Terran army if an engagement happens in this location. That is a really bad positioning, but at the same time, if the Terran player is thinking of flanking you around with a small group, you can storm those soldiers to death. So now, here we are in a period of time when both of these players are nearing max upgrades. EMPs, but not the best EMPs I have seen. Still storms remaining for the Protoss player, and he does go in and storm the shit to oblivion. Will he be able to win this battle, though? Not enough zealots here with the army, just Stalkers and Archons, and now we only have 2 Colossi remaining. As I said, imagine 2 more Colossi with that army, or a faster reinforcement warp in with these zealots. But the third base is up, so the Protoss will be sitting pretty. But don't get me wrong, that was a huge, huge, huge loss for Zen, and if the Terran attacks reasonably soon, he is going to be in a prime position to take this game, because he just killed every single AoE unit of the Protoss, and we know what happens when the Protoss does not have any area of damage units, right? Try to guess. Try to guess. Yes, the Protoss dies. Quite simply. The only way he could get back into this game right now, quite frankly, would be very, very well executed drop harass or DT harass, but even that would not be enough, because the army supply for Murmur is 120 versus 60 of Zen. And, well, Zen does have the right idea. He is going in with the drops, but it's a little bit too late. And somehow the forces of Murmur are catching every single Zealot that Zen sends out to harass. And with these ghosts and only 1 High Templar, well, 4 High Templar, but only 2 of them have energy for storms. This 4th base is totally undefended. It is going to go down. Oh my goodness! Zen voluntarily putting his army in between the clinch here by Murmur. Nice feedbacks going down. Awesome Storms storming all of the army, but that's it for Storms. Photon Overcharge is not going to help all that much, and Zen has to leave the game. That was a very bad engagement to make. Not having observers or nor forward scouts. Murmur just throwing the bait into the water, Zen swallowing it like a big hungry whale fish, and dying to the harpooners. That was just a very nice execution by Murmur, just taking part of his army away to snipe that fourth base, luring his opponent into a trap while maintaining a very good defensible position. Well played, sir. Well played. Alright guys, so that is going to be it for today. Thank you very much for watching. Tomorrow there will be no Cast My Game because I am out of town, and I will be back Sunday evening. So to recap, the following Cast My Game is going to be up Monday 8 p.m. CEST as always. If you or your friends or somebody who you know, if they do have a 1v1 master level replay approximately 20 minutes long that they wouldn't mind me casting for them, tell them about the show. All they have to do is send it to me via my email, which is BelleNOiR@cesnam.cz, right below my camera window, with the title Cast My Game, including a short description, most importantly their player name, so that I know which one of the players in the replay is them, and a short description of what's transpired in the game roughly, so that I don't have to watch every single one of them, but I can pick depending on or based on keywords such as banning rush, awesome Phoenix versus Phoenix battles, stuff like that makes my day a lot easier, so that I have an easier time searching. Followers Tournament announcement will be rolling out via my Twitter and Facebook on the Sunday evening this week, which is 12th May, I do believe, and then sign-ups will open most probably Monday if you want to play in a $100 prize pool tournament for 16 players, which also have to be followers of the BelleNOiRtv here on Twitch. Then just like my Facebook or follow my Twitter to not miss the announcement and actually make it into the bracket. You might have a chance of walking away with $32 as first prize, or 16 as a second, or 8 as third, or just $4 if you don't place quite high enough. So that will be all. I will see you guys in 4 days. Love you all. Thank you very much for watching. And until we see each other again, just remember, good luck, have fun, and storm first, ask questions later.